Good afternoon, folks. Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here, taking a look at the tropical update for August 20th of 2019. Brought to you by, again, as always, good folks at Pine Belt Covers. Big thanks to them for helping us out and allowing us to bring you guys an update as to what's happening out in the tropics. Monday through Friday, all summer long. Hey, let's take a peek out into the Gulf of Mexico right now. Really not much to speak of. We've got that little lingering frontal boundary area that's kind of in the northern Gulf. This is going to stay where it is through about the next 36, 48 hours. It's going to kind of drift off to the north as we got one little wave down here, which is going to again cross over the Yucatan and kind of skirt up the east coast of Mexico and Texas, and eventually wrap itself around the Gulf and then back into parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. At the same time, we've got this little wave over here, which is kind of pulled up shop. It's almost stationary out here. It's tough to get a defined, organized center on this, and a lot of the convection that you see in here, in fact, let's zoom it down here a little bit. A lot of the convection that you see in here is afternoon thunderstorm stuff, plus you're getting a little bit of boost off of a little bit of a north wind that's coming across parts of Cuba, right there. So we're watching that one right here, and that one right there. I'm trying for my John Madden noises today. This one goes that direction. This one here, we're still trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen with this one. Some of the models take it toward Florida, into the Gulf, and then back over Florida up the East Coast. Others of them just kind of wash it out as it moves into the central part of the Gulf of Mexico. Others take it into the northeastern sections of the Gulf of Mexico, and not organizing anything, but just kind of moving it around. Other modeling has it just kind of stay where it is and just kind of drift north. So we'll keep tabs on that, because that's going to dictate, again, like we've been talking about, what happens down here, because what's driving this is the big ridge of high pressure, big Bermuda high that's out here as well. So the further that it noses itself back off to the west, the further that this is going to go off to the west. And both of these are probably not going to organize themselves, but they are going to bring a pretty decent shot for rain as we head through this week and toward the weekend if you're living along the Gulf Coast. Outside of that, we are in the clear as you head out into the open Atlantic. You've got to get off the coast of Africa before you start talking about any kind of convection out here. We'll let the computer catch up for a second. Come on, you can do it. There it goes. We've got one little wave here. This is another one back here, and then that actually is a pretty healthy looking one right in behind that. And the train, this happens this time of the year, is pretty normal. I will say that these aren't holding together very well at all once they get over the open Atlantic. It's just because the difference between the warm land here fueling the showers and thunderstorms is a lot different than the water that's out here, which isn't quite as warm, so there's not much to fuel them, or as much. To the modeling we go. Here's wave number 2, wave number 1. Crossed over the Yucatan, skirts right up the west coast. The European model here, this is our 700 millibar moisture, 850 vorticity. Again, grayed out areas. We're not worried about any kind of tropical development. The blues, the greens, and the yellows, that's where we're talking about areas of low-level spin, low-level vorticity, and the old fancy 850 millibar. Fancy way of saying low-level spin. So we've got this one skirting up the coast here. This one here, it's the European has this kind of go right up the middle of Florida here and then kind of curlicue back off to the northeast. This one doesn't really get organized until it's over land. Don't have anything to worry about there. Back in behind it, we get just a slew of dry air across the open Atlantic. So really, we're only talking about these two. This is where things get interesting in the European for today. There's that one, over land, that slowly drifts back out, here we go in the middle of next week, into the Gulf of Mexico. Well, simultaneously, we've got wave number 3. So 2 gone, 1 still with us, or no, excuse me, 2 still with us, 1 gone, 2 still with us, a third one just off of the east coast of the Greater and Lesser Antilles. Look, if I can't keep up with it, I don't blame you guys at home for not being able to keep up with it either. And this is as we head through the end of August and into September, where we do anticipate another cold front to come sweeping down. We'll have to see how far south that cold front gets, how strong that cold front is when it gets here. Does it edge this thing even further off to the south, or does it pick it up and drift it on off to the north and east and away from us? So plenty to watch as we head through the next couple of days down into the Gulf of Mexico and into the Caribbean, and starting to look as we head out into the open Atlantic. But for now, nothing imminent, nothing dangerous, nothing coming, so to speak, for the United States as a whole. So that's a look at your tropical update brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters. Big thanks to them again for August 20th of 2019.